Hello and welcome back to the Psychology Class 12 2023-24 series by Cognizavest. I am Siddhant and I hope आपने हमारी लास्ट वीडियो देखी होगी. इस लास्ट वीडियो से आपको थोड़ा हमसे सीखने मिला होगा, कुछ कॉन्सेप्ट्स क्लियर हुए होंगे. And now today we will be starting with the next topic, which is our topic of intelligence. So intelligence, as per, there are many theories and many definitions. So which definition to go with is the first question we get usually asked. I would personally suggest that you use the definition given by Wechsler. But before we go into the definition given by Wechsler, I will like to explain you the other definitions given. So Oxford, as we all know, Oxford defined intelligence as the power of perceiving, learning, understanding and knowing. The power of perceiving basically refers to how we perceive things, how we learn them, how we understand them, कैसे हम उस चीज़ को clear करते हैं, उस बारे में जानते हैं. That is our intelligence. So the first psychologist who worked on intelligence was Mr. Binet, Mr. Alfred Binet, right? He had defined intelligence as the ability to judge well, understand well and reason well. Judge well मतलब आपकी judging skills. Understand well means how well you understand a particular stimulus, a particular concept, etc. and to reason properly for that particular thing. Then we come to the definition which I would personally ask you to use for your board papers is Wechsler. Wechsler defined the intelligence as the global and aggregate capacity of an individual to think rationally, act purposefully and deal effectively with his or her environment. Please remember ये तीन commas, think rationally, act purposefully and deal effectively with his or her environment. You make sure you write these terms as it is in your exam paper, right? Because these three terms are very, very important for your paper. Okay, moving on to the theories of intelligence. So as we know, the theories are classified into two broad categories, which are the psychometric approach theory of intelligence and the information processing approach. Along with that, we also have one more theory, which is the theory of multiple intelligence. This theory does not come under psychometric or information processing approach. A lot of us, हम बहुत confused होते हैं कि theory of multiple intelligence भी या तो information का है या psychometric का, but that's not the case. Theory of multiple intelligence is going to be a different theory altogether. So starting first, we shall first हम समझते हैं psychometric approach and information processing approach का difference. Psychometric approach basically focuses on what intelligence is, right? It considers intelligence as an aggregate of abilities and is focusing on single index of cognitive abilities, whereas information processing approach, this uses the way how people function, how people think, the function of intelligence, right? Processes people use in intellectual reasoning and problem solving and how an individual acts on it. This focuses on what? This focuses on how, right? I hope this is clear. I would recommend you, if ऐसा कोई question आता है, to differentiate between the theories, do make such a table so that examiner को उस चीज़ के लिए clarity हो. Step number 1. Okay. Moving on, the psychometric approach theories. So in this we have total number of 5 theories. 5 theories में सबसे easy पहली दो theories कैसे याद होंगी? 1 and 2. One factor theory और unifactor theory given by Alfred Binet. Alfred Binet said that हमारे अंदर सबके अंदर एक common similar set of abilities होती है which we use in order to problem solving, right? So that is the one factor theory. Please remember this theories we are explaining in short and crisp. This is so that you can watch it one night before your exam as well. The second theory here goes by the name two-factor theory. Two factors मतलब इसमें दो factors involved हैं. This theory was given by Charles Spearman in the year 1927. Please try and remember the date, as it's very important and vital that you write the dates with the name of the psychologist, right? So Charles Spearman gave two factors, which were the general factor or the G factor and the S factor or the specific factor. So he said general factors are those factors which are necessary and vital for all of us for our survival, and specific factors are basically those factors which are unique and individuals have different kind of specific factors. For example, I'll just give you a very basic example. When we go to the market to buy vegetables, उस time जब हम billing का हिसाब करते, those are general factors. But whereas specific factors would be your trigonometry, your algebra, etc. Right? Okay. Moving on to the third theory, the theory of primary mental abilities. This was given by Louis Thurston. So here we again have some theories under this, which is your verbal comprehension, numerical abilities, spatial relation, perceptual speed, word fluency, memory and inductive reasoning, right? Verbal comprehension is basically how well you understand the concepts and verbally. Numerical ability is your ability to computational skills, your numerical skills as to how well you're good with numbers. Spatial relations is basically how well can you form visual patterns. ये intelligences जो होती हैं, theories जो हैं, ये pilots जैसे for example spatial relations pilots में बहुत अच्छी होती है. Then we have perceptual speed, then we have word fluency, आप words को कितने fluently use कर सकते हो, how well can you play with the language. Memory, the ability to recall your things that you stored in your conscious and subconscious. And inductive reasoning, basically inductive reasoning means deriving general rules from facts given, right? Then we come to the next theory, which is the hierarchical model of intelligence, level 1 and level 2. Level 1 is the associative learning. Student of the year सबने देखी है, उसमें एक गाना है रट्टा मार. That is basically level 1. Level 1 is your rote learning in which the output is जो आपको मिलता है is more or less similar to the input. अब जैसे हमारे पास एक साइकोलॉजी की बुक है, अगर आप उसने पूरी बुक आपने वो रट ली तो आपको अगर कोई क्वेश्चन आएगा सिर्फ वही लिख के आएंगे. So that is your output is similar to your input, right? Which means your first level 1 is your associative learning. Level 2 again comes the cognitive competence, which is your involves your high order thinking skills. इसमें क्या होता है, आपका आउटपुट विल बी मोर देन योर इनपुट. आप अभी जैसे हम हमारे साथ ये वीडियो देख रहे हैं, आप वो कॉन्सेप्ट समझ रहे हैं. योर इनपुट इज दैट यू अंडरस्टैंडिंग, योर आउटपुट इज गोइंग टू बी दैट यू understood the concepts very well, you're able to apply them in your real life situations as well. The last topic here for this psychometric approach theories is your structure of intellect model given by J.P. Guilford. So Guilford साहब ने हमें दिए हैं 3 categories: operations, contents and products. Operations is basically how the person operates on a particular thing. Contents is the way they operate, and the product is the output they get from that particular model. Right? If you have any doubts in the psychometric approach, please feel free to comment down on the comment box given below. Right? Okay, now we will be moving on to the theory of multiple intelligence. Once again, I will be going back a few slides. Theory of multiple intelligence will not come under the psychometric approach, neither it will come under the information processing approach. Theory of multiple intelligence एक बिल्कुल ही अलग theory है. This does not come under any theory, and please do not get confused because this is a short 5 marker, 6 marker. Okay, the theory of multiple intelligence was given by Mr. Howard Gardner. So Mr. Gardner said that intelligence is not a single entity altogether, rather distinct types of intelligence exist. So he said, इन्होंने ये समझाया कि इंटेलिजेंस एक चीज़ नहीं है, अलग अलग टाइप की इंटेलिजेंस होती हैं which are independent of each other but also can come together and are interdependent on each other when it comes to solving novel and rational problems, right? So he had given 8 different types of intelligences which can be in every person at different intensities. First is your linguistic intelligence. Linguistic intelligence basically आपकी वो होती है आपका बात करने का तरीका. How well are you good with the words? How well can you play with words? Your speaking skills, your writing skills, your communication skills and so on. Logical mathematical वो तो psychologist में कम ही होता है, but okay. Logical mathematical is basically the ability of yours to play with numbers. How well are you good at by solving mathematical problems, etc. Spatial relations, as I said, spatial relations are the ability of a person to form visual images, visual patterns. Again, this will be high on people who are, for example, pilots. Sorry, I forgot to mention, linguistics would be high on, let's say, writers, poets, etc. Logical mathematicians, mathematical scientists, mathematicians, etc. Musical is basically how well you understand music, the ability to comprehend with music. This again, as the name suggests, musicians are high on the musical intelligences. Bodily kinesthetic is basically your ability to play around with your body. How well can you use different parts of your body for different, let's say, events or something. For example, gymnasts, they are very flexible. Flexibility is a part of your bodily kinesthetic intelligence. Then we have interpersonal and intrapersonal. Interpersonal, by the word inter, means you and I. How well can I understand you, or how well can you understand me? So interpersonal intelligence is basically the ability of a person in which he or she can understand the other person very well, can understand how she or what she or he was trying to convey. आप एक दूसरे की बात आप कैसे समझते हैं, जो इंटरपर्सनल इंटेलिजेंस. इंट्रापर्सनल इंटेलिजेंस इज बेसिकली हाउ वेल डू यू अंडरस्टैंड योर सेल्फ. आपके मन में क्या चल रहा है, आपको व्हाट इज योर रिक्वायरमेंट, how well can you channelize your thoughts, etc. as your intrapersonal intelligence. And naturalistic, the most, personally I find this is the most simplest one, is the ability that the relation you maintain with your nature, the understanding you have with your nature around you. Right? I hope this theory was clear. Theory of multiple intelligence. I will again give you a reminder, this does not come under any other intelligences, any other approach. Sorry. Okay. Okay. Now we come up to the next approach, which is the information processing approach. The first theory here is the triarchic theory of intelligence, as you all can see. This theory was given by Mr. Robert Sternberg in the year 1985. A quick revision, Charles Payman 1927 and Robert Sternberg in the year 1985. So Robert Sternberg defined intelligence as the ability to adapt, to shape and to select environment to accomplish one's goal and those of one's society and culture. इसका ये मतलब है that your ability to adapt, to mold and to shape and select your environment in order to solve your problems which you have been facing and which is acceptable by the society and accomplishes your goals and those of the society and your culture. Okay, so basically he gave three components, three types of intelligences which are involved, which is first is your componential intelligence. The componential intelligence consists of three components, which is the knowledge acquisition, the meta or higher order component and the performance component. Knowledge acquisition by the term knowledge, acquiring knowledge, knowledge acquisition. Meta or higher order component is basically how you process that information, how you plan to comprehend that information, how do you plan to execute that information, and the next last part is performance component where you actually perform that execution, right? Then we come to experiential intelligence, which is basically using your past experiences to solve new and novel problems. For example, you gave a speech in the assembly hall which did not go as planned because of certain reasons. Maybe you didn't use enough punctuations in your speech. Using that experience, the next time you give a speech, you might be using those experiences in order to improve, enhance your presentation, right? So that is your experiential intelligence. And contextual intelligence is basically your ability to handle your day-to-day problems, etc., which is also known as street smartness or business sense. Okay, coming to the last topic, our pass model. Pass तो exam में करना ही है 100 marks से, but here pass model is planning, attention arousal, simultaneous processing and successive processing. Okay, so the pass model was given by three people, J.P. Das, Jack Nilgiri and Kirby in the year 1994. Just a quick revision, pass model 1994, Robert Sternberg 1985 and your Charles Payman in the year 1927, right? Okay, so they said that intellectual activity involves the independent functioning of three neurological systems called the functional units of brain. These three functional units of brain are the arousal, attention, simultaneous successive processing and your planning. Okay, so arousal, attention is basically how arousal basically refers to giving your attention the force, right? So अगर मैंने आपको एक टास्क दिया दैट अगर चलो आपके स्कूल टीचर ने आपको टास्क दिया कि कल आपका 2 चैप्टर्स पे टेस्ट है, तो आपका अराउजल विल फोर्स यू एंड विल डायरेक्ट यू टू फोकस ओनली ऑन दोस 2 चैप्टर्स. नाउ नोट, too much of something or too little of something is harmful anyways. Similarly, that statement applies here as well. If you're not aroused by the situation, if you're way too much aroused by the situation, you will not be able to concentrate. अगर मैं आपको बोलूं कि आपका कल टेस्ट है and you don't even care about that, so I know you will not be focusing on the test tomorrow because you know you have bigger plans, that is your boards. Whereas if I say you have a test tomorrow and you do not have your boards, आप ये इस टेस्ट पे ज़्यादा फोकस करोगे and the adequate amount of arousal will help you give the proper attention to that particular topic. I hope this is clear. Moving on, we have simultaneous and successive processing. Simultaneous processing is basically when you perceive small concepts into a meaningful whole, integrate them into a meaningful concept. That is a simultaneous processing. For example, RPM, your Raven's progressive matrices, where if you remember in your practicals also, there's a diagram given and one part of it is removed and you have to find the exact match which will fit in that. That is your simultaneous processing. Successive processing is where recall of one leads to the recall of another. For example, 2 1s are 2, 2 2s are 4. 4 ही होता है ना? Right. Okay, and the last concept is a planning concept as to how we are going to plan for the situation, for the problem that is in front of us and how will we be solving it. Along with that, one last point which I think a lot of us do miss because the theory is over is the cognitive assessment system. This is also important. This can come in your paper. Cognitive assessment system was given by J.P. Das and Jack Nilgiri apart from the pass model. So this basically includes a lot of this is a battery of tests, right? There are multiple tests involved in it. This will include your verbal and non-verbal verbal tasks to measure the basic cognitive functions which are presumed independent of schooling. Okay, so with this pass model we come to an end of our psychometric information processing approach and our individual multiple intelligence by Howard Gardner and our intelligence. I hope this was a meaningful video. I hope आपको कुछ समझ आया हो, and if not, please feel free to ask your doubts in the comment section given below. I will personally be answering them to you. Also, all the best for your board exams, and we'll be coming with a new video shortly. Thank you.